welcome to the studio tonight. So I'm going to paint something for you tonight that I hope the painting lives up to what it is in reality. And I have to tell you a little bit of backstory before I get started painting. We have a friend who breeds moths, which sounds totally crazy and weird, but it's also the coolest thing I think I've heard of in a long time. So she gave us 2 cocoons, and I have to get this straight. The cocoon is a moth and a chrysalis is a butterfly. She gave us 2 cocoons of Hyalophora euryalus. I think it's a Cynothes silk moth. You can look this up. You could actually do a search on a Nike moth. It has a mark on its wing. We're going to paint it in here in just a second. That looks like a Nike swoosh. But apparently they're huge. The cocoon is like this big. It's humongous. I can't wait to see how big this moth is when they come out. And apparently the moth, when it comes out, has no mouth. It never eats. And it's in this cocoon for such a long time. We've had it in there for 3 weeks. No, 2 weeks. And it hasn't moved. It's the craziest thing, and they're giant. Anyways, I'm going to paint her a card as a thank you. And I hope it's going to go well. It's not going to be an exact representation of the moth. I'm holding up my kit. You see, we're going to use the studio kit tonight. I am going to post a picture of the moth, probably right up here, so you can see what it looks like. And I might even throw in a little video of the cocoons in our house. They're crazy. They're giant. They're just so big. And it's even weirder. She cut them open to see if it was male or female, I guess is what my wife said. I didn't understand, but no matter. Okay, that's the backstory. So we're going to paint a moth, but it's a giant, crazy big moth, and we're going to have fun with it. So I painted it on here so I could move it around a little bit, and I didn't lose track of it too much. I'm going to use, like I said, my studio set of paints. I'm using Princeton Select paintbrushes tonight, and we're going to go with it. So here we go. The moth is like most moths. It's brown, right? In and of itself, brown wing, brown forewing, brown rear wing. Wouldn't be the most exciting thing, but we're going to spruce it up. We're going to make our own orange and put in there. So I'm going to use a little bit of Pyrrole red and a little bit of Hansa yellow. I'm going to need some more yellow. I hope you can see that. There we go. I'm going to mix up a nice orange that we can mix with our browns. I'm going to use yellow ochre and transparent yellow iron oxide and transparent orange iron oxide and burnt umber and burnt sienna in here, and we're going to try to do this. And then I'm going to use I did a test of it. I have to see if I can find it. Well, this is not the one. I did a couple of tests of it, and you can see that's something what we're going to do. Lots of oranges and browns in there, but what we're going to do is we're going to use these little tiny stencil brushes, and we're going to rub out some paint here at some point. I'm sorry, I'm rambling on, and I know I should get on with the painting, but I'm so excited because this moth is just so cool. All right, so let me get some of my transparent orange oxide in here. All right, and I'm going to move everything over just a little bit, and I'm going to zoom you in so you can see. Let's see if I can figure out which way to push it. There we go. All right. I think that's as far over as I can go. I should have taped it on the stand a little bit over there. So I'm going to just start by putting on a little bit of brown on our forewing, and I don't really even know if forewing is the right word for it. I didn't do a whole lot of moth research. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to put on some orange like this. There we go. And we're going to go over this probably a couple of times. I'm going to blend this in. So I'm getting a little bit of yellow ochre on my brush. There we go. I want that to come out. Let's see, get some ochre on this side over here. There we go. I think that looks a lot better than just a regular old brown moth wing. I say a regular old moth wing. If you've looked this thing up in the 2 minutes I've been on air now or whatever, if you've paused this video and gone to look it up, or if you're going to look this up later after you watch the full video of the painting, you're going to see this unbelievable thing. It's a brown moth, but it's not just brown. It's got beautiful red colors and oranges in there, and it's so delicate. And I'm just hoping I can do some sort of justice to this butterfly, that's wrong, to this moth. There we go. So I've got two nice wings there. I'm going to mix a little bit of my burnt umber here. I'm staying away. I'm trying to stay away from my sepia at this point, which I think is a beautiful. I know it doesn't have a whole lot of color, but sepia seems to have a lot of what do I call it? A lot of attitude with it, or a lot of I don't know, something. Anyway, I like sepia. I actually put sepia in all my ink pens at this point in time. I love drawing. I have some that have black in it too, but I love the sepia pens that I have. Okay, so I've got the front two wings. I'm going to paint a little bit on the back too. Let's see. I'm going to keep it close to doing what I'm doing now. The colors are very similar on both wings, but I want to have just enough of a color difference that you notice. There we go. I think that's plenty far down there. And then I'm going to add in some orange. Do the same thing on this wing over here. I just want to leave just the slightest bit of difference between the two wings. I want them to stand out and be separate. There we go. And a little, where's my orange over there? Good. I'll take my ochre and put it on after that. That looks good. I like that. I like it a lot. We're just going to let that blend right on out. See, I don't think I've moved this. Yeah, okay, good. You can still... I haven't looked up at my video screen to see what you could see yet. Sometimes I do that and I notice that everything I'm doing is off screen and you can't see anything, and nobody has said too much to me about it so far. There we go. I think that's going to be our first round on our moth. So I'm going to put you on pause. I'm going to dry this off a little bit. Then we're going to come back with another layer. Okay? 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. I think it's pretty dry. We're going to go with it. What I want to do is, at this point, I want to make a differentiation between the wings and the body and the forewings and the rear wings. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move to a slightly smaller brush. Here we go. I'm going to move to a number 2 Princeton Select brush. I'm going to get a nice color here. This is my burnt sienna, and it's mixed with, I can just show you, it's all my colors that I'm using are here. They're all totally mixed in at this point. Somewhat mixed in, I guess. Not totally. Anyways, this is mostly burnt sienna. A little bit of our custom orange color in there. And I'm going to make sure I don't have too much paint on there. Start with, and I'm going to put a little bit of color right in here. And I get that a little bit darker, so much the better. There we go. I like that, and I'm going to try to do the same thing on this side. There we go. Yeah, I really like that. Okay, now I'm going to let that set for just a second and let some of that paint soak in, and then I'm going to blend it out or sop some of that up. I'm going to try to do a similar thing right underneath that wing right there. Got it. Got it. Something like that. There we go. And then I need to get my brush just almost totally dry. And just take some of that paint right back off. Just, there we go. Just a tiny little line, something just to set that off. And now on the body, I know it has a few stripes like that, and that's going to be enough. Now here, before I get a hard edge on there, I'm just going to blend that out. And I think that's going to be real nice to set that wing off. When you see me go up here, shoom, over there, I'm just rinsing my brush out, tapping it on a rag to basically take as much of that water off as I can. I just want just barely any water so that we can blend those colors right out. Just like that. There we go. Alright, so I know then that this wing goes just under that one. I'm going to do the same thing I did, up there. I got a drop of water fell off my paintbrush. I didn't want that. We could fix it. It's watercolor. Thankfully, in watercolor, we can do just about anything we want. If we're working wet in wet really loose, it is hard to control the water. We're working mostly dry right now, so I think we're going to be okay. I'm just trying to match these two wings up a little bit here. These two. The one on the left came out a lot darker. You don't want it to be quite that much darker, so take a little bit of color off. Let's see actually if I can lift. You know what? I'm not going to lift any color off. I don't want to do that. I'm going to let it be. I'm trying to learn even more to let it be what it is. Alright, so I think we have a good basis for our moth right now. He's looking pretty good. He's got a little spot up here. I should get a small, tiny brush for that. He's got a little tiny spot up here, something like that. There we go. Actually, I want some, it's not quite happy. There we go. That makes me happier. Okay, I'm going to give it another dry, and then we're going to start pulling paint off. Here we go. Alright, so it's totally dry, and if I could find my stencil brushes, here they are, we could take some paint off. Now, I've got some marks, and I'm sure that you won't be able to see them, and I'm straining to see them myself. Here's one and here's one, and the two Nike swooshes are down here. I'm going to use this stencil brush. Now, I have no idea what kind of brush this is. This says Plaid Simple. I don't have any idea what that means, but here's what we do. We're going to get our brush wet. We're going to tap it off just like we do anything else. I don't know if you can see, there's like almost no moisture on the brush. There's just a tiny little bit of dampness. And we're going to get that area wet, take a cloth, pull it out. Get right down on it and pull it out. If we do this a couple of times, there we go, you can see it's starting to come right out like that. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side in roughly the same area. Got to get it just damp. In fact, I might not even dip it in the water. I might just dip it on my rag up there. There we go. I'm just trying to pull off a little bit of paint. I don't want to pull off too much. All right. And I think that's actually a little bit more than I want, but I got this other crazy brush here. It's got two sides, a really small round end and a mostly small round end, and I think I'm going to use that. I think I can get a little bit smaller detail in here with this, and I'm just going to use that to pull off my swoosh. Let's see. There it goes. Now you can see it. There it goes. Something like that. I would not suggest doing this unless you're using pretty hard, pretty firm paper. I have this on a Strathmore 400 series card paper. Actual paper. There's a bend in it right here. It folds in half so you can give it as a card. And that's something I've enjoyed doing in the past, is giving away watercolor cards. And there we go. I'm just going to take off a little bit more paint where this moth has a white streak. That's a spot right there. I guess if I'm doing a straight line, I guess I should go back to this other one. Might be a little easier. I don't really know. So it was a great idea to do it this way. I don't know if it's going to work out exactly like I want it to. Let's see, they have a white line right around here. And the same on the other side. I keep a little bit of moisture on there. It comes right off. There we go. And on the top wings up here, let's see, they've got something that comes down. Something like this. I'm trying to follow the contour of this wing. You can see that paint just come right off of there. The same thing on this side. Let's see, I'm trying to follow that right on down. Just there it is. I think that's pretty good. There we go. And I'm going to pull out a little bit of color from the edge of this wing. I know I painted all the way to the edge. Why am I going all the way to the edge and now pulling color out? Because this moth has a little bit of a white spot at the end out there. And I got a little carried away and painted over it, but it's going to be totally fine. For those of you who are starting painting watercolor, you'll find when you tell people you paint watercolor, the first thing they're going to say is, "Oh my gosh, how can you do that? It's such a hard medium. It's so unforgiving." And I always hear that and I go, "Is it really?" I go, I don't understand that, because if I want to do something with watercolors, I just do it. The watercolors, for the most part, really act the way you want them to. Now, if you use too much water, if you're really into the loose watercolors, then yeah, you have no control. But if you do a fairly tight watercolor, and mine aren't overly loose, I will admit, then you can really do a lot of stuff with watercolors, and it's not a big deal. Alright, so now what we have to do, I'm going to mix up a little bit of sepia. I know I said I'm staying away from sepia, and I just went right back to it. And a little bit of our orange. Just doing it right here, just even a little tiny bit, not even much at all. And I'm going to put a little bit of a line in our, let's see, there we go. Something like that. I want a little bit of a line, something to differentiate this from the rest of this butterfly. A butterfly, why do I want to call it a butterfly? From this beautiful moth. There we go. Just give it a little bit of this line. I don't want it to be black. I don't want it to be, you know, I don't want it to stand out too much. I don't want it to be too dark. I just want, and I'm not even painting in a straight line. I could easily just make a whole thing, but the moths don't have a straight line. They actually have ridges or lines in their wings that hold them really straight, and so I want to kind of paint a little jittery in there so you can kind of see what that's like. There we go. And maybe let's see if I can zoom real far in. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. If I do, let's see. Get a little paint on my brush so you can see. I hope you can see it. I'm just letting the very tip of my brush just kind of jitter and flow all the way down. There you go. Just something really delicate in there. A little real delicate line. There we go. And one over here. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm going to just give some indications of some marks down here. They do have a fake eye up here on each side. My daughter didn't understand what that fake eye concept was. She didn't quite get that maybe there'd be something out there that would want to eat this. And by putting some fake eyes on it, it made it look much bigger and much less tasty. Oh, there we go. Let's get you back to where you were before. Alright, I got those lines on there. I've got just about everything I want to do here. I do want to take a little bit of you know what, I'm not going to do that. I was going to fill in this little white spot down here with something really dark, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that with the background color that I put on. But right now, actually, right now we're going to do the background color. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was going to put the big antenna on the top of this right now, but we would just have to go over it with our background color anyways. I don't think that's what I want to do. So here we go. I'm going to mix up a little bit of green with some yellow. Let's see, what color yellow is this? This is azo yellow that I have here. I'm going to make a nice, kind of a light green. If I look at the old color chart, kind of greens and bluish greens are opposite our browns on a color chart, or some of our browns. And so I want to kind of mix some of those in, and I'm not going to do it super dark. I want it pretty watery. I just want to give the indication of some color back here behind this guy to make him stand out a little bit, but I don't want it to be so dark that it detracts from him. So I'm going to try my hardest to be careful that I don't put my colors on too dark. There we go, some nice light yellows. Just mixing in some green colors around here, a few blues. I'm going to do something right in the center here. I don't want that to be so bright that that's what you see when you look at the painting. There we go. Just get some real pure yellow over there. Some more sap green. And I'm just telling myself, really light. Really light. The background is not the star here. The star is the moth. And I'm just gonna let that blend right out at the end. Just there we go. Just let it come out like that. Something like that. There we go, and right up around on the top. Good, go back into a little bit of more green over here. I'll get into a little bit of blue. Where this orange part is, that blue should help make it pop a little bit. Let's see. I'm going to get a little bit of my favorite. It's a strong color though, turquoise blue, and put it in here. I know, and somebody's going to write to me and say, you just ruined your color harmony by putting the turquoise blue because you haven't used it in any other parts. And you might be right. But when it comes down to it, the other part of the equation is I'm also painting what I like. And I like painting with turquoise blue. There we go. And it really is a fantastic color. And I'm not putting it on so dark that it's going to detract from anything, so I think we'll be safe with it. There we go. I'm liking that mostly. Not liking that in there all that much. That's probably a little bit better. I'm going to blast it with the hairdryer. We're going to put some antenna on it and call this one good. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Let's get a little bit of our sepia. I'll bring this over and show you. I'm getting a little bit of our sepia in here. And I'm going to drag over as much of this red orange as we can get. And that's the color I'm going to use. And I'm just going to make 2 marks, one here and one here. Let me try to get them the same size. There we go. And I'm sorry, I'm going to have to turn it. And I'm just going to start ticking these off. There we go, 1. And 2. Let's see. Didn't quite get these the right length. That's a little better. I think my length was just off on a couple of these. I shouldn't go back like that and redo it, but I did it. There we go. There's our Nike moth. Oh, let me get it in the middle for you. I like it. I hope you like it. I'm going to sign it and call it good. I hope you enjoyed seeing me paint it. I had a great time painting this with you. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button. I would love to see you painting with me in the studio again. And that's all I got for tonight. Thanks so much for stopping by. Bye-bye.